Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Seriously, wherever you are tuning in from right now, I'm sending you a big wave of good vibes and wishing you nothing but health and happiness. Take care of yourselves and your loved ones out there. Okay, today we're diving into one of the most vibrant, bustling, and absolutely crucial neighborhoods on our planet, coral reefs. You've probably seen stunning pictures or videos. Those incredible underwater cities exploding with color, teeming with fish of all shapes and sizes. They look like something from another world. But beyond their breathtaking beauty, coral reefs are like the ultimate life support systems for vast amounts of ocean life, and surprisingly, for us humans too. So, how exactly do these intricate structures built by tiny animals manage to support so much life? Let's put on our imaginary snorkels and explore this amazing underwater world together, breaking it down in simple terms. First off, let's understand the architects themselves, the corals. Coral reefs aren't rocks or plants. They're built by thousands upon thousands of tiny animals called coral polyps. Imagine a single polyp like a little, soft-bodied sea anemone, basically a mouth surrounded by tentacles. But here's the magic trick. Most reef-building corals have a special partnership, a best friend forever deal, with microscopic algae called zooxanthellae, pronounced zooxanthellae. These algae live right inside the polyp's tissues. The polyp provides a safe home and some nutrients. In return, the algae use sunlight through photosynthesis, just like plants, to make food, sugars, and oxygen, which they share generously with the polyp. This free food from their algae roommates gives the polyps a massive energy boost, allowing them to do something incredible. They extract calcium carbonate from the seawater and use it to build a hard, protective skeleton around their soft bodies. Generation after generation of polyps build their stony cups right on top of the skeletons left behind by their ancestors. Over hundreds, thousands, even millions of years, this slow, steady construction creates the massive, complex structures we know as coral reefs, the literal foundation of this entire ecosystem. It's a city built by tiny tenants powered by sunshine. Now, why is this stony structure so important for supporting life? Think of a healthy coral reef like a giant, intricate apartment complex, office building, shopping mall, and restaurant district all rolled into one, but underwater. The complex three-dimensional structure created by the corals is absolutely key. It's not flat. It's full of nooks, crannies, crevices, caves, overhangs, tunnels, and towering spires. This complex architecture provides something vital for countless marine creatures, habitat, and shelter. Imagine you're a small fish in the big, blue, open ocean. Predators are everywhere. A coral reef offers endless places to hide, darting into a small hole, squeezing under a ledge, weaving through branching corals. For small, vulnerable creatures, this shelter is the difference between life and death. It's also perfect for laying eggs safely or raising young fish away from bigger mouths. But it's not just for the little guys. Bigger predators like groupers, snappers, or sharks use the reef structure too, lurking in shadows or using channels and drop-offs as ambush points. Lobsters, crabs, octopuses, shrimps, they all find perfect homes in the reef's labyrinth. Even animals that aren't directly living on the reef full-time, like sea turtles or dolphins, use it as a vital feeding ground or navigational landmark. The reef structure itself is the essential real estate that makes this bustling community possible. Okay, so the reef provides the apartments. But what about the food? How does this city feed everyone? This is where the reef becomes a massive, interconnected food factory and marketplace. Remember those photosynthetic algae living inside the corals? They're the primary producers, the foundation of the reef's food web. Using sunlight, they convert carbon dioxide and water into energy-rich sugars. This energy doesn't just feed the coral polyps, it fuels the entire system. When the polyps or their algae produce waste, or when bits of coral tissue or mucus are released, it becomes food for a whole host of tiny creatures: plankton, small crustaceans, worms, and filter-feeding animals like clams or feather stars. These small critters are the next level up, the bustling workforce. They are then eaten by slightly larger animals like small fish, shrimp, or crabs. These, in turn, become lunch for medium-sized fish like parrotfish, wrasses, or butterfly fish. And those medium fish become the prey for the top predators: snappers, groupers, barracudas, reef sharks, and moray eels. It's a classic food chain, but on a reef, it's more like a tangled, complex food web because many animals eat multiple things and are eaten by multiple predators. But there are some superstar recyclers and cleaners on the reef who play unique roles. Take parrotfish, for example. These colorful fish have beak-like mouths perfect for scraping algae off the coral skeletons. In doing this vital cleaning job, preventing algae from smothering the corals, they also ingest bits of rock and coral. They grind this up in their powerful throats, poop out pure white sand. Yes, a lot of that beautiful tropical beach sand started as parrotfish poop and helped keep the reef clean and healthy. Sea urchins are another important algae grazer. Then you have the decomposers, the cleanup crew. Creatures like bristleworms, certain crabs, and especially tiny bacteria break down dead plants, animals, and waste products, recycling the nutrients back into the system so they can be used again by plants and algae. This constant recycling of nutrients within the reef system is incredibly efficient and keeps the whole food web humming. The reef doesn't just support life on the reef. Its influence extends far beyond its physical boundaries. Think of it as a vital hub in the larger ocean neighborhood. Reefs act as crucial nurseries for many species of fish and invertebrates that spend their adult lives elsewhere in the ocean. The complex structure and relative safety make it the perfect kindergarten. Countless species of snapper, grouper, lobster, shrimp, and even some open ocean fish lay their eggs or release their larvae near reefs. The young find shelter and abundant food in the reef's nooks and crannies until they are big and strong enough to venture out into the seagrass beds, mangroves, or the open ocean. Without these safe nursery grounds provided by reefs, populations of many commercially important fish species would collapse. Reefs also act as feeding grounds for large pelagic, open ocean animals. Tuna, mackerel, and even majestic manta rays are often seen cruising reef edges, drawn by the abundance of smaller fish and other prey concentrated there. Sea turtles graze on seagrass nearby, but rely on the reef structure for shelter and specific food sources like sponges. Now, let's talk about a benefit that directly impacts millions of people living near the coast: coastal protection. Healthy coral reefs act like natural, living breakwaters. That complex, rough structure right at the shoreline, it absorbs a huge amount of energy from waves and storms. Think of it as a speed bump or a shock absorber for the ocean's power. When big waves generated by storms or even regular swells slam into a healthy reef, the reef breaks up the wave energy, slowing the water down significantly before it reaches the shore. This drastically reduces erosion, prevents flooding, and protects coastal communities, infrastructure like roads and buildings, and vital habitats like seagrass beds and mangrove forests that sit behind the reef. In areas where reefs have been damaged or destroyed, the difference is stark. Shorelines erode much faster, flooding becomes more severe during storms, and the cost of building artificial seawalls is enormous. The reef is literally the first line of defense for countless coastal towns and cities around the world, saving billions of dollars in potential damage and, more importantly, saving lives. Beyond supporting ocean life and protecting coasts, coral reefs provide direct, vital resources for humans. The most obvious is fisheries. Reefs are incredibly productive, supporting a significant portion of the world's fish catch. Millions of people, especially in tropical developing nations, depend entirely on reef fisheries for their daily protein and their livelihoods. From small-scale subsistence fishers to larger commercial operations, reefs are the grocery store for coastal communities. Then there's tourism and recreation. The sheer beauty and biodiversity of reefs draw millions of snorkelers, divers, and boaters every year. This generates massive revenue for local economies through hotels, dive shops, restaurants, boat tours, and souvenir sales. For many island nations, reef-based tourism is the primary source of income. Reefs also hold immense potential for medicine. Because corals and reef creatures live in a highly competitive environment, fighting for space, avoiding predators, they have evolved incredibly complex chemical compounds for defense and communication. Scientists are studying these compounds for potential new medicines to treat cancer, arthritis, bacterial infections, viruses like HIV, Alzheimer's disease, heart disease, and more. It's like a vast, underwater pharmacy waiting to be explored, but only if we keep the reefs healthy. The biodiversity found on coral reefs is simply mind-blowing. Even though reefs cover less than 1% of the ocean floor, they're estimated to support around 25% of all known marine species. Think about that. One tiny fraction of the ocean supports a quarter of its life. We're talking potentially millions of species. Every time scientists explore a reef, especially in deeper or less accessible areas, they find new species. This incredible richness isn't just about numbers. It's about the sheer variety of life forms, from the tiniest symbiotic worms to the largest reef sharks, each playing its specialized role in the complex web of life. This biodiversity isn't just beautiful. It's the engine that makes the whole system work. The different jobs performed by all these diverse creatures, grazing, hunting, filtering, cleaning, decomposing, building, are what make the reef ecosystem resilient and productive. This incredible concentration of life in one place also makes reefs natural laboratories for understanding evolution, ecology, and the interconnectedness of life on Earth. Sadly, these vital underwater cities are under severe threat, and their decline has massive consequences for all the life they support, including us. The main stressors are well known but devastating. Climate change is public enemy number one. When ocean water gets too warm, even just a degree or two above normal for too long, the stressed coral polyps expel their colorful, food-producing algae partners, zooxanthellae. This is called coral bleaching. The coral turns ghostly white and, crucially, loses its main energy source. If the water doesn't cool down quickly enough for the algae to return, the coral starves and dies. Mass bleaching events, driven by global heating, are becoming more frequent and severe. Ocean acidification, caused by the ocean absorbing excess carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, makes it harder for corals and other shell-building creatures, like oysters and clams, to build and maintain their calcium carbonate skeletons. It literally weakens the foundation of the reef. Overfishing and destructive fishing practices are another huge problem. Taking too many fish, especially key species like herbivores, parrotfish, surgeonfish, that control algae growth, disrupts the reef's balance. When herbivores are gone, algae can overgrow and smother corals. Destructive practices like blast fishing, using dynamite, or cyanide fishing literally blow apart or poison the reef structure. Pollution is suffocating reefs. Runoff from land carries fertilizers, pesticides, sewage, and sediment. Fertilizers cause algal blooms that block sunlight and create dead zones. Sediment smothers corals. Plastic pollution entangles and kills marine life and breaks down into microplastics that enter the food chain. Coastal development destroys vital mangrove forests and seagrass beds that filter water and act as nurseries, while dredging and land reclamation directly bury reefs or cloud the water with sediment. Invasive species and diseases also take a toll. When reefs die, the consequences ripple out catastrophically. The vibrant city collapses. The complex structure erodes over time, losing the vital nooks and crannies that provided shelter. Without shelter, fish populations plummet. The intricate food web unravels. The nursery function disappears, impacting fish populations far out at sea. Coastal communities lose their natural storm barrier, leading to increased erosion, flooding, and damage. Fisheries collapse, threatening food security and livelihoods for millions. Tourism revenue vanishes. The potential for discovering new medicines is lost. The ocean loses one of its most productive and biodiverse ecosystems. It's a devastating loss for the ocean and for humanity. But here's the crucial part. It's not too late, and there is hope. Protecting coral reefs requires action on multiple fronts, globally and locally. Slowing climate change is absolutely fundamental. Rapidly reducing greenhouse gas emissions is the single most important thing we can do to give reefs a fighting chance. Every fraction of a degree of warming we prevent matters. Creating and effectively managing marine protected areas, MPAs, is critical. These are like national parks for the ocean, where damaging activities like fishing or anchoring are restricted or banned, allowing reefs to recover and thrive. Enforcement is key. Paper parks don't work. Reducing local stressors is equally vital. This means drastically cutting pollution from land by improving sewage treatment, managing agricultural runoff, and reducing plastic use. It means enforcing sustainable fishing regulations, banning destructive practices, and protecting key herbivores. It means managing coastal development carefully to protect mangroves and seagrasses and minimize sediment runoff. Coral restoration efforts are growing. Scientists and local communities are actively working to restore damaged reefs. This can involve growing corals in underwater nurseries, fragmenting healthy corals and letting them grow on frames, and then transplanting them back onto damaged reef areas. It can involve stabilizing loose rubble to help new corals settle. While restoration alone can't save reefs without addressing the bigger threats like climate change, it's a vital tool for helping specific reefs recover and buying time. Research and monitoring are essential to understand reef health, track changes, identify resilient supercorals, and develop better management and restoration techniques. What can you do, even if you live far from a reef? So much. Your everyday choices have a ripple effect. Reduce your carbon footprint. Drive less. Use energy-efficient appliances. Support renewable energy. Eat less meat, especially beef, as livestock farming is a major emission source. Every bit helps fight climate change. Make sustainable seafood choices. Use guides like the Monterey Bay Aquarium Seafood Watch to avoid overfished species or fish caught using destructive methods. Ask where your seafood comes from. Reduce pollution. Minimize single-use plastics, bags, bottles, straws. Dispose of chemicals properly. Avoid fertilizers and pesticides in your garden. Support policies for cleaner water. Support reef-friendly businesses and organizations. Choose tourism operators committed to reef protection. Support conservation groups working on reef science and advocacy. Donate if you can. Spread awareness. Talk to friends and family about the importance of reefs and the threats they face. Share reliable information. Vote. Support leaders and policies that prioritize climate action, ocean protection, and environmental regulations. Coral reefs are far more than just beautiful underwater scenery. They are intricate, ancient, and incredibly productive ecosystems built by tiny animals in partnership with algae. They provide essential habitat and shelter for a staggering diversity of marine life, forming the foundation of complex food webs. They act as vital nurseries for fish that populate the wider ocean. They protect our coastlines from the fury of storms and waves. They directly support millions of human lives through fisheries, tourism, and potential medicines. They are biodiversity hotspots of global significance. Their survival is intertwined with our own well-being. While the threats they face are severe, primarily from climate change, pollution, and overexploitation, understanding their immense value is the first step towards protecting them. Through global efforts to combat climate change, strong local protection, reducing pollution, sustainable practices, active restoration, and individual action, we can give these vital underwater cities a fighting chance to survive and continue supporting the incredible tapestry of life that depends on them. They are a precious gift, a wonder of the natural world, and absolutely worth fighting for. Thanks so much for learning about these amazing ecosystems with me today. Wishing you all health and happiness, and I'll see you next time. Take care.